Hey, it's another.
Love it when her mind wanders, and she loves it when.
Hey, it's another.
Love it when her mind.
Let's put that in fucking mute. Oh. Yeah. Okay, now. Here. Chip and go. Okay, no. Okay. God damn it. Alright. Alright. According to Chip and Co. Wednesday season 2 is coming to Netflix. The official Wednesday season 2 of Netflix, the streamer has renewed one of the most popular stories of history. The version, premiering November 23rd. The first season show includes 8 episodes containing our own the Addams family. Huh. That's interesting. We got a lot of Disney to cover, folks. Come on in. Come on in. Next up is this new mini something collection arrives at Mexico Pavilion in Epcot. Huh. $24.99. $10 on $19.99. Tumble is $29.99. Huh. That's something interesting. Let's see if we can. That was a up close and look at one. There's another one. Huh. Oh, it's just repeating it. Duh. But yeah. Disney News Roundup. Disney special offer has been announced for 2023. Figment Popcorn Bucket Shell Return Baby Acapulco first appeared once new merchandise around WDW. Huh. Food, 30% off of rooms in 2023. Florida State residents, 40% off on a 4-day ticket. Anyone here going to Florida? Disney shares sneak peek of new animal pass holder coming soon. Wonder when they're gonna announce that. Huh. New Fightment waffles are coming to Epcot International. Now here's a good question. What in the goddamn tarnation is it? We're gonna find out though together. Okay, coming on 2023 Epcot International of the Arts 2023. We're just days away from the Epcot International Festival of Arts presentation by AT&T, returning January 13th through February 20th of this year. Figment will be the star again this year. If you love Figment, you're in luck, because the festival is giving out our favorite images, some of the extra love new this year. You can explore Figment Inspiring Station at the Odyssey Arts Food and Little Sparks Magic, and not only but as we can see here. That looks pretty damn good, if you ask me. Disney World Magic Returns. Here's the one that no. New Disney Cross spotted at Disney World. New Cross. Those look pretty damn good, if you ask me. Come on in if you're new here. Like, subscribe, comment. If you like Disney, oh yeah. Before we get too far into the stream, I'm going to take you over to the updated channel feature of this channel. hang on. And make one last tweak here of it before I show you it. Be right back in 30 seconds. Okay, I am back. Before we continue on with um, tonight's topic, alright. Now, this is where you guys can find all my links to my, to Myers and the Mouse, Pete McDivitt, including the Deuce, Dad Builds, including NASCAR channels, including, what was it? Should have been uploaded. Let me refresh the page. Because I just put the guy in. No, but it has the topics of, including Paul Coppers is in here. Okay? But I'm going to go ahead and drop his link into, he's actually live, but I'm going to actually drop his live link into the chat so you guys can like also and subscribe to that one as well. Okay, here. Okay. there is a link to that. Now, and while I'm in the shower, I'm gonna go ahead and play a quick Disney video for you. No. Which one do I need? Okay.
In 1964, on opening night of Mary Poppins, Walter Elias Disney had reached the pinnacle of his career. The man who arrived in a half-finished cartoon in his suitcase had become one of the leading figures of filmed entertainment.
I tried to convince her I was capable of making a picture with live actors as well as cartoons. I didn't know what she thought of.
Who was Walt Disney? Even those who worked with him for years often struggle to define the man. For many, he remains an enigma. 2 years after the Mary Poppins premiere, Walt was dead, and the enigma began to pass into myth.
Not the one I wanted, folks.
And in some ways mirror the circumstances Walt Disney World is currently.
Question: would you build a website for a major brand with more than 200 million users?
Two types of legal structure: a municipality or a special district. Special districts in Florida allow for more specific control of building codes and drainage of the wetlands needed to build the project. In the end, they decided on a combination: the cities of Bay Lake and Lake Buena Vista and the Reedy Creek Drainage District, now the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Disney now had the power to build its own utilities, court system, police force, and airport, in addition to the construction-related powers it wanted. The state legislature approved the entities, and they were officially formed on May 12, 1967. However, this wasn't the end of the story. In a lawsuit that was almost a comedy sketch, the district sued the state of Florida and Disney challenging itself. This was to preempt any other court challenge and to get the Florida Supreme Court to uphold the legality of the district. The state had to legally oppose the suit, but in reality, the attorneys for the state helped to make Disney's case. And when asked if they had a rebuttal for the district's case, the attorney arguing for the state responded, quote, "Yes, sir, but I don't know what to say." Suffice it to say, the district won the case. On October 1st, 1965, Paul Hellawell announced that his mystery client would be identifying themselves at a press conference on November 15th. However, Disney didn't get a chance to do things the way they wanted. On October 21st, Emily Bavar, a reporter for the Orlando Sentinel, published an article, "Is Our Mystery Industry Disneyland?" Bavar had been covering Disneyland's 10th anniversary and noted that in an interview, Walt had dodged questions about the Central Florida acquisitions, yet he knew a suspicious amount about the area. The secret was out, and Disney accelerated their plans, with Florida Governor William Hayden Burns announcing the project on October 25th. The development of the project continued, as did the public relations, trying to convince both the public and politicians about the project. In June of 1966, Marvin Davis was tasked with creating the master plan for the property, laying out how the theme park, resort areas, and the City of Tomorrow, now known as Epcot, would fit into the 12-mile-long, 7-mile-wide property. These plans can be seen in the most famous of these PR pushes, known as the Epcot film, as Walt walks around the Florida Project room. 2 versions of this film were created, one for the general public and one for the Florida legislature. Sadly, this film would be Walt's last appearance on camera, as he was diagnosed with lung cancer that November and died at St. Joseph Hospital December 15, 1966. Reportedly, he was still working on his Florida project while on his deathbed. The Epcot film screened on February 2, 1967 in Winter Park as part of a press conference and press event to promote the project. If it was a spy mission to buy the land, it was a military one to build it. 2 of the principals were Admiral Joe Fowler, who had helped build Disneyland, and General William Joe Potter, former governor of the Panama Canal I and the number 2 construction man for the 1964 New York World's Fair. While land clearing began as early as '65, it was May 30th, 1967, when the large-scale reclamation project on the property really began. This first step was the infrastructure. Roads were built to get equipment in, 55 miles of canals and levees were dug, and 7 million cubic yards of dirt were moved to create the Seven Seas Lagoon and prop up the site of the Magic Kingdom. This land would allow for most of the original Magic Kingdom layout to be built on the second floor, with access corridors known as utilidors down below. These would house a lot of the behind-the-scenes facilities and allow cast to travel outside the view of guests. Of course, this was a highly unique construction project, and it faced unique challenges. In addition to the 2 original hotels, the Polynesian Village Resort and the Contemporary Resort, 3 other hotels were planned around the Seven Seas Lagoon area: the Asian Resort, the Venetian Resort, and the Persian Resort. Of these, only the land for the Asian Resort was prepared and would later be home to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Both the Polynesian and the Contemporary originally were 12-story towers, but the Polynesian design changed before work began on the hotels in 1969. Disney contracted U.S. Steel to build the hotels using a unique form of modular construction. The rooms could be slid in and out of place for modification later, so the rooms could be built off-site for greater speed and construction. The factory sat near where Port Orleans currently sits and could produce as many as 15 rooms a day. Disney would own the land, and U.S. Steel would own and run the buildings, though there are some sources that say Marriott and Western International were to handle the operations. At this time, Disney had never run a hotel, since the Rather Corporation ran the Disneyland Hotel. However, U.S. Steel fell behind and over budget. Each modular room cost was almost 5 times what was expected, so Disney bought out U.S. Steel for $50 million, which was reportedly what U.S. Steel originally paid Disney for the rights to build and run the hotels. There are different stories about the specifics of the deal termination. Some report that it was before construction ended and Disney finished construction themselves. Others say the termination was in December of 1971. It's hard to tell what the real story is at this point, but we know that some of the finishing work was done by Disney employees working until and through the last minute of September 30th, 1971, as the Contemporary opened unfinished. Of course, the rest of construction had its issues too. Actual construction began in April 1969. Originally thought to cost $100 million, the budget had already reached $400 million at that point, and there were still constant delays. Even before vertical construction began, Disney was met with strikes by the International Union of Operating Engineers, starting almost as soon as the land clearing began, with things becoming violent before the dispute was settled on February 16th of '68. Disney originally hired J.B. Allen as the contractor, as he had done extensive construction at Disneyland, but after saying he couldn't make the October 1st, 1971 opening date, He was fired and replaced with the company's own engineer, Peter Markham, and Buena Vista Construction was formed. The iconic monorail line also had to be constructed. 2 concentric lines and a spur to the maintenance and storage barn were built, totaling 6 miles of track. The beams themselves were constructed as individual spans, each 25 inches wide, up to 4 feet thick, and between 90 and 110 feet long. They were cast off-site in Oregon and shipped to Florida for installation. 4 of the original 10 Mark IV monorails built by Martin Marietta were ready for October 1st, 1971. Monorails Orange, delivered April 5th, Green, delivered May 20th, and Gold, delivered June 15th, were the first trains to enter service on September 1st of 71. Monorail Blue was the 4th train to enter service on September 20th. Disney held another 4-day event in Orlando to showcase a more finalized plan than the Epcot film on April 30th of 69. Here, models and a 17-minute film were shown to the public. Corporate involvement and sponsors were announced. And most importantly, this is when the name was officially changed to Walt Disney World. A lot of this was later seen at the Walt Disney World Preview Center, which opened on January 16, 1970, and would close on September 30, 1971. Over 800,000 visitors passed through the center. The building still exists on Hotel Plaza Boulevard as the Amateur Athletic Union headquarters. This time period also saw Disney's first conservation area when in 1970 the company set aside 7,500 acres of the property to preserve. The opening date had been set in stone and was approaching quickly. Decisions had to be made as to what was going to open on day one and what would open soon thereafter, such as Fort Wilderness. One way or another, the resorts in the Magic Kingdom would be ready to go, even if Disney had to have non-construction workers laying sod in front of the Contemporary on the 30th of September. Thus, the pre-opening phase ended in a mad rush. The vacation kingdom of the world would officially rise from the swamps of Central Florida on Friday, October 1st, 1971. As the sun rose over Central Florida on October 1st of 1971, the management and cast of the Walt Disney World Resort braced for the expected onslaught. The fall date was planned to help manage crowds, however, newspapers and Florida Highway Patrol estimates had pushed that number into the hundreds of thousands after opening day at Disneyland ended up being an overcrowded disaster. Walt Disney World didn't have the same grand, live, star-studded opening day special. Those events would happen later in the month. On October 1st was just to be the opening day. By the end of the day, approximately 10,000 people had visited the Magic Kingdom, far from expectations. The park layout was essentially the same as we know it today, but obviously smaller. Large parts of Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, and Tomorrowland were barren land. But before they got to the Magic Kingdom, guests still had to pass through the Transportation and Ticket Center. The overall setup was similar to today's, minus the security and the Epcot platform. After paying 50 cents to park, the guests had 2 ways to get to the Magic Kingdom, via monorail or ferry. The 2 original ferries were the Port Socol and the Southern Seas, side-wheel steamers with a 250 guest capacity. Monorails Orange, Green, Gold, and Blue were in service on opening day. Passing through the TTC, Magic Kingdom visitors would buy their tickets. There were 3 categories for tickets: child ages 3 to 11, junior ages 12 to 17, and adult for people 18 and up. An adult general admission was $3.50, but of course this didn't include ride tickets. There were also 7 adventure books that sold bundles of tickets, including admission. This book contained 1 each of the A, B, and C tickets and 2 each of the D and E tickets at a price of $4.50 for an adult. An 11 adventure book also existed at $5.75 for an adult. The individual tickets were also available in the park, with an A ticket costing 10 cents, the B 25 cents, a C ticket 50 cents, D ticket 75 cents, and of course the E ticket for 90 cents for an adult, 80 cents for junior. As you would have passed through the turnstile, strollers were in the same location and the shop on the west side was the newsstand. Lockers were under the train platform inside the station building. Once a guest entered Main Street USA, the town square looked very much like it does today. The Oscar Mayer sponsored the Town Square Cafe was in place of Tony's Town Square, but the confectionery and chapeau were there. However, the Camera Center took up part of the current confectionery space. Next to the Town Square Cafe was the Gulf Hospitality House, which served as a secondary guest relations for Town Hall across the street. The Harmony Barbershop was on West Center Street, which divided the west half of Main Street. The corner of Center Street and Main Street housed the New Century Clock Shop, sponsored by Elgin Helbros, and the greenhouse consisted of flower carts in the middle of the street. The Emporium still occupied the front corner, but stopped before Center Street. The back half of that side of the street contained the Card Shop, sponsored by Hallmark, the Penny Arcade, the House of Magic, and a tobacconist. The refreshment corner, sponsored by Coca-Cola, stood where Casey's Corner stands today. On the east side of Main Street, you would pass the confectionery, the Main Street Cinema, and the Cup and Saucer China Shop. The Wonderland of Wax Candle Shop was tucked into the back of the south side of Center Street. Art stands where guests could have artwork drawn of themselves took up that side of Center Street. Along the north of Center Street, you could find Disney & Co., a toy shop, and Uptown Jewelers. Moving further along Main Street, you'd find the Market House, sponsored by Smuckers, and Dixie Crystals, followed by the Shadowbox Silhouette Studio and Crystal Arts. Next would be the Bakery, sponsored by Sara Lee, and the Plaza Ice Cream Parlor, sponsored by Borden. Main Street featured several attractions that could still be found today. Of course, the Walt Disney World Railroad existed at the train station at the beginning of Main Street, but at the time this was the only stop. 3 trains were in service: the Walter E. Disney, the Lily Bell, and the Roger E. Brogy. The Main Street vehicles were also in operation, featuring the fire truck, the horse-drawn streetcar, an omnibus, a jitney, and a horseless carriage. The Main Street Cinema was open, as was the Penny Arcade. There was various entertainment, including the Dapper Dans, the Walt Disney World Band, the Firehouse Band, a pianist and refreshment corner, a saxophone quartet known as the Keystone Cops, a Crystal Palace Trio, as well as characters on parade. Along the west side of the Central Hub area, the Baby Care Center and First Aid were in their current location. The Crystal Palace opened with the park, but was a cafeteria-style a la carte restaurant serving buffet style and was called a buffeteria. Moving clockwise, Adventureland featured nothing beyond the Jungle Cruise and the Tropical Serenade, the original name for Florida's Enchanted Tiki Room, which was sponsored by the Florida Citrus Growers. The Swiss Family Treehouse was there, and the Safari Club Shooting Arcade was in the current place of the Island Supply Company. This arcade consisted of coin-operated individual shooting machines as compared to the Frontier Shooting Gallery model. The bench design was not the lava rock we see today, but smoother concrete benches, and the foliage had not grown in yet to the extent we see now. The leaky tikis existed, but did not shoot water and faced each other in a circle, more directly in front of the Jungle Cruise entrance. Also in this area was a ticket booth. The main restaurant was the Adventureland Veranda, in the current home of Skipper Canteen. The menu was listed as Polynesian and featured items such as Fiji chicken. The Sunshine Tree Terrace occupied its original location between the Tiki Room and the pass-through to Frontierland. Meanwhile, the Veranda Juice Bar was across from the treehouse in the current location of the Sunshine Tree. Adventureland Bazaar, Traders of Timbuktu Tiki Tropic Shop, the Magic Carpet, Oriental Imports, and Tropic Toppers comprised the shopping complex along the north set of buildings. The patio area here also housed JP and the Silver Stars, Adventureland Steel Drum Band. The overhang area that separates Frontierland and Adventureland was not installed yet, so the transition between the lands was much harsher. Opening day Frontierland featured 3 attractions. First was the Frontier Shooting Gallery, featuring lead pellet shooting guns, necessitating repainting each and every night. The Davy Crockett Explorer canoes boarded near the current docks for the rafts to Tom Sawyer Island. While the islands existed, they were not open for guests yet. The Country Bear Jamboree was one of the Magic Kingdom's premier attractions at the time. It was sponsored by Pepsi and Frito-Lay. The Frontier Trading Post, located between the Shooting Gallery and Country Bear Jamboree, appears to have been the main store in Frontierland. Located just past the Country Bear's entrance sat another shop, Westward Ho. Country Bear Jamboree exited into the mile-long bar, a refreshment stand, and the land ended with Pecos Bill's Cafe. Liberty Square opened with the Mike Fink keelboats, the Haunted Mansion, and the Hall of Presidents. Mike Fink featured 2 boats, the Gollywumper and the Bertha May, and loaded near the entrance to the Haunted Mansion. The Hall of Presidents was up to date with Richard Nixon as the most recent president. Blaine Gibson sculpted all 36 presidents for the cap-off to a presentation that featured the voices of Paul Frees and Dale McKinnon. The film featured the Constitutional Convention of 1787, the Lincoln-Douglas debate, and capped off with a Saturn V rocket lifting off. Royal Dano once again voiced Lincoln for the finale, just as he did at Disneyland. The Haunted Mansion exterior was vastly different. No interactive queue, no empty hearse, and not even a canopy over the queue. The inside was much the same as it would be until 2007's refurbishment. One thing to note, the stanchions for the queue and the exit were necessarily in different places, as it was the removal of these original stanchions that led to the story of the original Bride's Ring. The Diamond Horseshoe Review was also an opening day draw, and the hour-long show featured Wally Bogue at opening, as the comedian had temporarily relocated from Disneyland to get the Magic Kingdom version of the show going. The current Christmas shop area was broken up into Old World Antiques, Lafayette's Perfumery, and the Silversmith. The Heritage House next to the Hall of Presidents sold Americana. The Yankee Peddler opened in the current spot of Memento Mori. The area where the market sits today was an open field. The Liberty Tree Tavern opened as a standard a la carte table service restaurant. Sleepy Hollow Refreshments appears to have been opened as a snack bar on opening day as well. Entering Fantasyland, the first thing you'd encounter would be the Skyway to Tomorrowland, taking up the area where the Tangled-themed toilets sit now. It's a Small World was in its current location, but the load and unload were on opposite sides. The location of Mickey's Filler Magic housed its spiritual predecessor, the Mickey Mouse Revue, an animatronic extravaganza featuring some of the most memorable songs in the then-existing Disney catalog. Cinderella's Golden Carousel, a refurbished 1917 carousel, opened in the castle's courtyard. Immediately behind the carousel sat Dumbo the Flying Elephant, featuring 10 vehicles that weren't wearing hats. Snow White's Adventures also opened, along with Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Both of these differed considerably from their Disneyland counterparts. In fact, the Mr. Toad ride at Walt Disney World featured a 2-track layout. The Mad Tea Party was in its current location, but did not feature a canopy. Pinocchio's Village House served as the main quick-service restaurant, serving burgers and the like, and King Stephen's Banquet Hall was the table service restaurant inside Cinderella Castle. The Lancers Inn served pizza in the place that would eventually become the Friar's Nook. The Troubadour Tavern, a refreshment stand, sat next to Peter Pan's Flight. There was also the Tournament Tent refreshment stand back behind Dumbo. Early shops included the Fantasyland Art Festival, located what is now the Peter Pan Queue, the Castle Camera Shop, the Royal Candy Shop, and the Mad Hatter, between Mickey Mouse Revue and Peter Pan's Flight. Tomorrowland's opening day brought an unfinished mess. The only attractions were the Grand Prix Raceway, sponsored by Goodyear, and the Skyway to Fantasyland. None of the attractions along the main pathway from the central hub were ready. Despite its impressive entrance bordered on either side by 2 waterfall towers, there was nothing futuristic about the attraction in the land at this time. With a decor drastically different from today, the buildings were mainly white concrete and glass, in a depiction of the future that seems like an evolution of the stark style of brutalism popular in the late mid-century period. The Tomorrowland Terrace originally sat in Cosmic Ray's current location, and the only shops on opening day were the Skyway Station Shop and Mickey's Mart, which is housed in what is now the Star Traders. It's unclear if the original lunching pad, now Anti-Gravity's, was available on opening day, but it did open in 1971. Hearing this list of attractions, you'll no doubt be asking where a few things you were sure that were there on opening day are. In the mad rush to open, not everything made the cut for October 1st. First to open, just the next day, was the Admiral Joe Fowler Riverboat in Liberty Square. Fantasyland saw Peter Pan's Flight open on October 3rd, and then 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea on October 14th. The Tinkerbell Toy Shop opened in November. November also saw the America the Beautiful Circle Vision 360 film debut in Tomorrowland on the 25th, and it's presented by Monsanto. Flight to the Moon premiered across the street 1 month later on December 24th. Of course, the Magic Kingdom wasn't the only thing to open on October 1st, 1971. The Contemporary and the Polynesian Village resorts opened that day as well, if not fully. Prices range from $25 to $44 per night. The Contemporary Resort opened with the familiar A-frame tower and 2 garden wings, with the north garden wing slightly larger than the south one that exists today. While its lack of landscaping on opening day was necessary to get the hotel open, the nearly 1,000-room resort still featured relatively little landscaping even after being completely redone within the month. The resort also featured significant convention space, even if the large convention center building was not there. There were 10 convention rooms, including names like Atlantic, Continental, Everglades, Gulf Coast, Pacific, Redwoods, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Great Smokies, and Grand Republic rooms. The 1,400-seat ballroom in the Americas was a combination of the Atlantic and Continental rooms. The convention area also featured the Hemisphere Lounge. Outside, the Contemporary featured multiple pools, a marina, 2 snack bars. The Dock Inn focused on normal fast food fare, and the Sandbar was an actual bar. The marinas at both resorts featured multiple watercraft for rent, including the infamous bob-around boats. The round teen pool extended into but was not part of Bay Lake, and the square adult pool sat between the tower and the lake. The beaches were open for swimming and featured volleyball courts. Back in the Grand Canyon Concourse on the 4th floor of the tower, you could find a variety of shops and restaurants. There were several sections operating under the Grand Canyon Terrace, including a cafe and a bar in the areas now taken up by current restaurants. There was also the Monorail Club Car Bar opposite the entrance to the monorail station. The area on the northwest quarter housed the Spirit World, a liquor store, Plaza Gifts and Sundries, and the Fantasia Shop for children. The Bay Lake side had the Contemporary Man and Contemporary Woman, as well as Kingdom Jewelers. And of course, all this existed under Mary Blair's famous mural. The original Top of the World opened with the resort as well, featured a supper club, lounge, and 2 private rooms. In addition to the regular nightly shows, it would also occasionally serve as host to famous acts such as Cab Calloway. The area behind check-in, now known as the Wave, was the Sunshine State Exhibitorium, featuring gaming tables. Just down the monorail track past several topiaries was the Polynesian Village. This opening day version of the resort featured 484 rooms across 8 longhouses. Going clockwise from the Great Ceremonial House, they were Bali High, Tahiti, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Hawaii, Bora Bora, and Maui. Like the Contemporary, the rooms were not highly themed, as getting them built on time was the priority. There was only the main pool that looked like a waterfall grotto. The current East Pool location was a putting green. The marina featured many of the same watercraft as the Contemporary Marina, with the addition of a war canoe. The beaches were also open for swimming, with a small raft slide out in the Seven Seas Lagoon. The infamous wave machine did exist and operated briefly. Like today, the Great Ceremonial House featured most of the shops and restaurants. The building did feature the grand waterfall area, but a checkered tile floor. The Polynesian Princess, Robinson Crusoe Esquire, Trader Jack's Grog Hut, News from Civilization, and Village Gifts and Sundries were the shops of the main lobby. The Tambu Lounge existed, but the restaurant it was attached to was the Papiti Bay Veranda, which featured breakfast, lunch, and a Polynesian review with dinner. The South Seas Room, which now exists as a conference space, was a buffet. The Coral Isle Cafe was the precursor to Kona. The nightly luau took place on the beach as the Cove was not ready yet. Not wanting to repeat the chaos that was July 17, 1955, when Disneyland opened, Disney decided to hold off the grand opening ceremonies and filming for the TV special after 3 weeks of soft openings. Celebrities such as Jonathan Winters, Julie Andrews, Bob Hope, and Buddy Hackett descended on the property for the filming, much of which was done outside of operating hours. The special aired on October 29th. October 24th saw the opening ceremonies for the two resorts. The night culminated with a 1,000-person luau on the beaches of the Polynesian village. This was also the debut of the electrical water pageant. The 1971 version featured the sea serpent, whale, 2 sea lions, the clamshell mermaid, goldfish, dolphins, redhead mermaids, octopus, flying fish, 4 seahorses, and King Neptune. Fantasy in the Sky is also reported to premiere that night. The next day, Roy Disney dedicated the park. Quote, Walt Disney World is tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney, and to the talents, the dedication, and the loyalty of the entire Disney organization that made Walt Disney's dream come true. May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration and new knowledge to all who come to this happy place. A magic kingdom where the young at heart of all ages can laugh and play and learn together. The dedication speech was followed by a 5,000-performer Walt Disney World on Parade, which included 1,076-member marching band. When it came down to deciding what would be available opening day, the Fort Wilderness Campground unfortunately was delayed. Despite appearing on the October 29th opening special in a rather, well, calling it outdated would be kind, comedic set of segments featuring Jonathan Winters, the campground did not actually open until November 19. The initial phase of the resort featured 250 campsites. All the recreation facilities and stores were located at the Trading Post, and the Tri-Circle D Ranch opened at the same time. The Palm and Magnolia course opened in 1971. That year, as part of the marketing of the resort, the course hosted the Walt Disney World Golf Classic in December. Jack Nicklaus won. Spalding was the original sponsor and provided the first rental clubs under their Top Flight brand that were branded with a swinging Mickey. The early days of Walt Disney World were hectic, from executives being worried that they couldn't handle the crowds to them being afraid that they were not getting enough on opening day. By the end of November, the daily guest count had surpassed 50,000. The resort was a huge success. However, the year ended on a solemn note when Roy O. Disney passed away on December 20th, 1971, 5 years and 5 days after he said goodbye to his younger brother Walt in the same hospital. However, he and Walt Disney Productions accomplished what they had vowed to do that half-decade ago, to make Walt's final dream a reality. Now it will be up to a new set of executives to continue operating the property in the years to come. Walt Disney Productions entered 1972 a very different company than it had been a year before. Walt Disney World opened 3 months prior and proved to be a hit. The company was under new leadership for the first time without a Disney at the helm. Don Tatum was now the chairman and CEO, and Card Walker was president and COO. And while we know the company would be entering a stagnant phase, the immediate plans for Walt Disney World focused on completing Phase 1, and Walt's dream of Epcot wasn't quite the top priority. The first Walt Disney World theme park would already welcome its 1 millionth guest by the end of its first year, but along the way it saw the addition of attractions, restaurants, and shops. It also saw its first closure approximately a half a year into its existence. The first known casualty of change would be the Adventureland Safari Club Arcade by March. The site would become Colonel Hathie's Safari Club, and the latter would be used to extend queue space for the immensely popular Country Bear Jamboree. The Fife and Drum refreshment stand opened in a corner of Liberty Square near the Hub Canal this year, as did the Columbia Harbor House. Fantasyland saw 2 additions. In March, they added Merlin's Magic Shop, where you'll now find Sir Mickey's, and on December 12th, the King's Gallery inside Cinderella Castle, where Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique sits today. Major attraction additions weren't quite in the cards this early, but there were changes. Walt Disney World Railroad added the Frontierland Station on or around May 1st. This original station was a slightly raised, simple building located where the current Frontierland Parade entrance and exit is located. The parade route at that time ended about where the current train station is. A 4th train, the Roy O. Disney, had already entered service on December 1st of 71. If You Had Wings, sponsored by Eastern Airlines, opened on June 5th in Tomorrowland as the park's first free ride. The ride focused on Eastern's Caribbean destinations and had an area to book a trip as you exited, reusing the ride system and track layout from Disneyland's Adventure Through Inner Space. And while individual ride tickets stayed the same, admission to the park went up 25 cents in February. In October, the 7 and 11 count adventure books went to 8 and 12 count tickets. Due to guest demand, construction began on Pirates of the Caribbean in Adventureland early in the year. It's well known that Pirates of the Caribbean was never planned for Walt Disney World, as it was thought that it would not be exotic to the Florida audience. A Mark Davis-designed similar boat ride, titled the Western River Expedition, was meant to fill the void left without pirates, but complaints of the lack of the world-famous attraction caused Disney to quickly add a shortened version of the Disneyland staple. This appears to be the death blow for Western River Expedition, as the company's 1972 annual report no longer mentions the ride, but touts the 1974 opening of Big Thunder Railway, a version of an attraction originally designed to be part of Western River's Thunder Mesa complex. The Space Mountain, as the annual report called it, and the Plaza Pavilion also began construction on December 15th. Outside of the parks, things also continue to evolve. Lost to time is the Walt Disney World Water Ski Show, at some point later renamed the Wonderful World of Water. The show, which debuted in the summer, would run up to 5 times a day, and while it could obviously be seen from many parts of the lagoon, there was a paid 50 cents, then raised to 75 cents special viewing area off to the side of the Magic Kingdom entrance near the monorail station. Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake also hosted a variety of paid cruises in the evenings. These included general tours, cocktail cruises, and dinner cruises on the paddle wheel ferry boats, a yacht, and even a Chinese junk ship that docked at the Contemporary. Around the lagoon, the monorail fleet also expanded to 10 trains by the end of '72. Monorails red and yellow had actually come into service on November 7th and December 3rd of the previous year, respectively. July 3rd saw the addition of the next train, Monorail Pink, and soon thereafter Monorail Silver on August 16th. Monorail Purple joined on November 14th, and finally, Black completed the initial fleet on December 22nd. Like the parks, the Contemporary, Polynesian Village, and Fort Wilderness each saw incremental changes. At both hotels, decor changes to the guest rooms were already underway, as guests had complained that they were rather bland. At the Contemporary, the Grand Canyon Terrace expanded, and the El Pueblo opened just next to it, hosting the first breakfast buffet at Walt Disney World. Downstairs, the Gulf Coast Room became a higher-end restaurant, with jackets required for men as part of the dress code. With these two spring additions, the Grand Canyon Terrace Lounge closed. The Polynesian Village saw little physical changes other than the beginning of room upgrades. The aforementioned Chinese junk, known as the Eastern Wind, was added to the Polynesian Marina. A longtime pianist named Ramon Bueno began playing at the Tambu Lounge at some point during the year. Fort Wilderness doubled the number of campsites as it continued its expansion, and the Fort Wilderness Railway began construction. The golf resort, now Shades of Green, began construction as well. At this point, the Asian resort was still being planned for 1974. Far on the other side of property, near the current site of Disney Springs, there was also major construction. 3 hotels, the Travel Lodge, Howard Johnson, and Royal Inn, were now open in what was called Motor Inn Plaza. Also, Lake Buena Vista began development as a residential community. By the end of 1972, 80 villas had already been constructed and leased, the Lake Buena Vista Golf Course opened, and construction of the clubhouse, 53 more villas, and recreation facilities were underway. 1972 can hardly be considered the key year in Walt Disney World's history, but it demonstrated from the very beginning the resort's ability to change and evolve. Key projects that would shape Walt Disney World and the public's perception of it were underway. Quintessential attractions such as Pirates of the Caribbean and Space Mountain would soon be a part of the Magic Kingdom. And they were just the beginning of the grand plans. However, 1973 and the gas crisis would soon change the trajectory of Walt Disney World forever. Walt Disney World's second full year of operation saw many things we still know today, as well as things we no longer have, added to the resort. But 1973 was also the first time that the real world began to intrude on the Vacation Kingdom. It became a harsh reality that no matter how big of a berm you build or how much land you buffer with, national and international crises will find themselves on your doorstep. The second fiscal year of October 1st, 1972 through September 30th, 1973 saw 11,593,000 guests pass through the gates, but the park was in a state of flux for the entire year. Heavy construction was taking place on both ends of the park as 2 now classic e-ticket attractions were being built. The first new addition a 1973 guest would encounter would be Station Break Refreshments, a new stand located under the Main Street train station. Second was the Walt Disney Story, presented by Gulf Oil. It opened in the Hospitality House in April and was dedicated by Lillian Disney on May 6th. The queue featured memorabilia, including the famous 8-piece Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Oscar, as well as a model of the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Walt Disney Story was a film attraction that told the life story of Walt through his own perspective, using interviews and other recordings for the narration, and featured rare stills and film clips. The post-show area originally featured a model and showcase of the canceled Western River Expedition, hosted by an audio-animatronic owl named Hoot Gibson. The owl was also replicated for Disneyland's pre-show exhibits, but instead hosted a lecture on true life adventures. The Plaza Swan boats officially opened on May 20th, loading in the Northeast Quadrant hub area in what was known as the Rose Garden. The 12 26-passenger boats would travel around the canals of the hub and into Adventureland, where they would circle the Swiss Family treehouse before returning. They'd even pass under the Cinderella Castle Bridge. In Adventureland, another new refreshment stand opened near the Jungle Cruise called the Oasis. In Frontierland, Westward Ho closed to make more room for the Country Bear Jamboree queue. Along the rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island opened in April, followed May 20th by the Richard F. Irvine Riverboat. In addition to the areas to explore like the Old Grist Mill and Huck Finn's Treehouse, Tom Sawyer Island also featured Aunt Polly's Dockside Inn, a small counter-service restaurant. Fantasyland saw the Canopy and Central Teapot added to the Mad Tea Party attraction. While much of Tomorrowland was under construction for the entire year, the Plaza Pavilion, the current Tomorrowland Terrace, opened by summer to accommodate the added crowds from all of the new attractions in the park. Work continued on Space Mountain, while construction began on the Carousel of Progress, the People Mover, and the Starjets.
Now, I am back. Welcome. Hang on, let me get the camera up. Let me do a little shout out before we continue on. Welcome in fans. Welcome in Nightbot. Oh. I almost read my own. I had to get something off the screen. Welcome in Patrick Built 15. That's about it we got so far on here so far. But yeah, we're cooking with juice now. Butter, whatever the heck you want to do it, call it. But and what? Okay, that one. Almost done here getting. I almost got what I wanted. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Come on in, everybody. If you're watching me right now, put a comment in the chat so we can say hi. If you're new here, subscribe. And by the way, do me a damn favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. More likes, more subscribers we have, well, let me just tell you this much. The better chance of we hitting that 1,000 sub like. And get this. Once we hit that 1,000 sub like, 1,000 sub, there will be, I believe, of what I've heard, memberships available on this channel. So, my goal for you guys for this year, for all you new people that haven't subscribed yet, for 2023, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss when we go live. First look at a World Color One debate, January 27th, at Disney California Angels. They even have a video of it.
It just takes one.
See the ripples wash them turn to waves. You never know who it might touch, and soon it might be all of us. Maybe there's a world that it can change. So start away. Oh, maybe there's a world that you can change. So start away.
It just takes one.
Ripples wash them turn to waves.
That is pretty damn cool if you ask me. Now, here's something you guys won't believe. Walls down, outside light and power, cold while work continues on Tron Lightcycle /1. I'm just cheating a little. Here's one, and then I'll find some more for you. Hang on. I know there's a lot of much that we gotta cover. I haven't done much in a while. I'm almost ready to go, folks. If you guys are new here, make sure you go ahead and check out Chip and Co. Proud help out this channel. If you haven't already, if you're in watching this channel, go ahead and go to Chip and Co. and please go ahead and drop that link into the channel. Please. Thank you. What was I doing? Okay, now I got some much ready. I'm gonna minimize this. Okay, right here. Come back here. 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 Alright. Well. Okay. Epcot International, January 13th through the 20th. Oh yeah, we already talked about that. Duh. Oh. First look into Epcot's International Arts. Here's some pictures of it. That's sweet. Okay, and then Disney new roundup former cast members could be Magic Kingdom 60 people rescued from the wheel in 2022. Top much is this. Huh. I wonder how the hell that. Who in the hell wants to wear that? Huh. Here's a good damn question. Huh. I think there's some of the cast member too. Holy criminy. I go ahead and no. Okay, hang on. Hold on. Before we get too far. Come on in, everybody. Magic is calling us to come to this special meeting, which is the Disney News Merch Content. I try to do it almost every Friday. Not every Friday, at least twice a month, maybe 3 times a month. I got one coming up next week, Friday. Please help me out. Come to that one too. Like, subscribe, comment to this channel as long as we are live. That Willie tells YouTube we're doing a damn good job. And folks, I got 11 fucking views. By the way, folks, um, crap. There's the link to his YouTube page. Please do me a damn favor and help him out.
Galaxy. Go the distance. The best of the best are in Disney social media. This is your chance. T. Marie's Place. Thank you, Mr. Barr. We love Nate. Park Hoppers, Roundtable. I love the Roundtable Love Tonight. Resort TV One. Mike Wheeler. Wheels, Chris. Dad Mills is the man, according to Jeff Condon. Thank God he's not the woman. I'd be nervous. The New Philly crew. That's a good call out. Love a call out for the crew. More magic stuff. Yes, Fast Dog, I hear you. Welcome in, Walt, my partner channel. Dev, Carlin Kiko, Drew in the Moment, Kenzie Days, Isaac Nail. Some great call outs. We love to go the distance, Chris and I, and recognize other people in here. If you just joined us and it's your first time watching tonight, all those names that you heard along the way here are absolutely fantastic creators. And the ones I called out, and the ones I didn't, because I couldn't get to everybody, I can just see what I can see. Go and check them out, or you'll hear about some other ones later on in the show. So, Chris, here's what I'm thinking tonight. As you're pointing stuff out,
And I put myself on mute. I just dropped the Pete McDivitt show, and Streamlabs just dropped the Deuce one. Go check them both out. Especially Pete McDivitt, the Deuce. We need to get him up and over 100 likes. So yeah, please check him out, and our second channel if you haven't. I know I posted the link to my lead moderator, so go check him out, which is the Real C. I don't know how to there. Let me start that over again. I do not know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm just calling him the Real C to abbreviate his last name. No disrespect, but yeah, as I said in the beginning, nope. One. Right here. Channel. Okay. And this. Yeah. I find myself again. Nope. Nope. Hell no. Alright. So, are you again? Is the links to first person there, Dad Built. Second person, Pete McDivitt. Top 3, 2 are down here. Boom and boom. Pete McDivitt and the Dad Built Show. Alright, I want to get that message off the board there. And then, also, inside the huddle, I got Miles and the Mouse, Dole Whip Dad, Teen Marie's Place, Pete McDivitt Show, The Deuce. Down here, I got Miles and the Mouse, Chip and Company, Dad Builds, and the Pete McDivitt Show. Farther down, here in NASCAR, I got Joe Gibbs Racing, Rush Truck Center, Kevin Harvick, Stuart Haas Racing, and more. For all your NASCAR links, all right here at the bottom. For all your Disney creators, they are right here. For all your football creators, they are right here. Featured channels, right here. Like Millennial Farmers, Minnesota Millennial Farmers, The Real C, Dole Up Dad, Chip and Company, Y. Wilson, Ace Pilot. Between the Walls is also that, but go check out Between the Walls as well. And Ace Pilot. And then up here are all my that I've subscribed to. And then, see this number up here? We need to hit 1,000 subscribers. For instance, let me just pick a random odd channel. Before I do this, let me bring it back into the studio. Wrong thing, clicked on the wrong thing. want to give a huge, major shout out to Casey's Corner of the Road. Who else? Team Marie's Place. Pete McDivitt, the show. And the Deuce, his second channel. Dad Builds. Miles on the Mouse. Because all of them are good content creators. If you haven't gone to my YouTube page, which is right here, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and go to my YouTube page. Go check them out. Okay? Because, as I said before, it doesn't hurt to go check another creator out. I'm not saying you have to subscribe to them. I'm just recommending you do them. Because if I find them interesting, or if I find them, or what they do is pretty damn good, then I know I could share their ideas or reword it into my script or stuff. And today I'm basically, the topic of the day for this whole thing is, who in the God's creation does not like Disney, Walt Disney World, or Epcot, Disneyland, Disney World, and any of the movies? How many of you haven't been to Florida and seen either any of the Disney parks? Because I know I've been there and I've seen a few. They're pretty damn good. Especially the Animal Kingdom. Because if you haven't gone to check them out, please go ahead and do so.
Here you go. Here you go. Oh, yeah.
There he is. There he is.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's what we're talking about. Wagner,
Bobby.
a veteran, right? Get him.
Won't be. Okay, now, I know. Oh yeah, that's the other. Son of a bitch. I dropped his channel in there. Yeah, so please go over, check out um, all those creators I have mentioned. Um, who am I haven't seen any other moderators than the two that I have mentioned in the chat. Hang on. Come on in, everybody. Like, subscribe, comment. If one of my mods could go ahead and drop the link to, yeah.
To the event, but not attending the Oreo game for their own personal reasons, which is fine. You don't have to do it. Is Sparks is going to be coming, AAA Sparkles, whether or not with Jesse on that, and attending everything, but still going to get me everything because I know they are, is Gene Fitzmagic, who has already booked his hotel, Disney Baker and Vanessa. They'll be getting me their Oreo ticket. I know Davills, you're getting me yours. Gonzo is getting me his. He sent me a note. Udalali Lane, Kate, and also Karen Cooks told me they called me on the way down to Disney and said that they'd be sending it to me. So those are all the ones that I know confirmed of right now, Chris. So a good list. Yeah, a good solid list. And I believe there are others. I believe there are others that are going to, until I receive a verbal, and I'm coming, but I'm not doing the Oreo game, or send me a $25 deposit. I have to book out this room that we're going to do, which is why I
Be right back.
so that I can plan that out. I can't do that
Let me put. Okay. Okay. Here, second. About. Okay. And wait. We do have a Discord page. I will go ahead and put it in the chat. Here it is. There's the link to our Discord. It'll take you there immediately. What else did I want? I'll be off camera and I'm mute. Okay. What other news and merch can I find? I know I'm looking at one that new gold WaltDisney annual Starbucks. I'll bring it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. Come on in, come on over. Just joining us, we're just getting basically started. This is it, folks. Yeah. This is the last piece of merch I have before I turn it over to Pete for a little bit for yakking wise. That's a little short video of it. We got some images of it. I don't know how much it cost. I think I covered Mickey Mouse, the main attraction, Jungle Cruise, collection spotted at Walt Disney World. I wonder how much these cost. Here's the new Mickey Mini 50th one right here. Yeah. Here is Hollywood Tower Tail, new carpet and line extra and gifts. May have to send this next time I'm down there. Whenever that'll be. I might take some pictures of it and try to post it on the community page when I can. But I will post a link to the this website over on the community page of what we talked about today. What else do I need to cover? Yeah. That's all the Disney news and merch I got. About almost an hour on stream. But if you are new here and haven't already, come on into the chat. Say hello. If you're new here, or if you're subscribe already, say hello into the chat. I will be doing also some football over here on the channel besides the fans of the Green Bay Packers, which I know they're in here. If you haven't gone to check them out, go click on that and check them out and actually him out. Subscribe to his channel. He's a damn good football guy. He talks sports. He likes the Packers. I know that. He talks Packers, Badgers, Bucks, NFL offseason, NBA offseason. He'll be calling MLB here shortly. With MLB coming up, I'll be flipping it up between this channel and that channel of doing games. I don't know how many MLB games I will be doing over on this channel. With that, just waiting for it to get for 2 hours. That's usually how long I usually try to one of these streams go. Because I know a lot of my subscribers come in and interact with me. We'll see if you are watching. I know you've been in here before. One thing is, I ask for all my moderators to help drop links to everything that I ask and to help drop another person's channel into the chat so they can go check it out. Yeah. Anybody got any questions? Oh, here's my mouse. Now, I need 13 people to hit me up. Yeah, speaking of that, I need to do that too. Now, if you haven't joined our Discord page, we do have one. Speaking of that, now, let me make sure I've gone 2 hours. Okay, close enough. Peace. See you guys in the next one.